301. The Thirsty Pigeon. A pigeon, driven by thirst, saw a basin of water in a painting and believed it to be real. So, with a great flapping of wings, she hurled herself against it rashly and broke the tips of her wings. Falling to the ground, she was caught by a passer-by who was there. Similarly, some men carried away by the strength of their passions thoughtlessly undertake ventures and hurry without hesitation to their ruin. 302. The Pigeon and the Crow. A pigeon kept in a dovecote boasted loudly of her fertility. Hearing this, a crow said to her, "Hey, friend, stop boasting like that, for the more children you have, the more you should lament slavery." It is the same with domestic slaves. The worst off are the ones who have children in slavery. 303. The Two Carrying Pouches. Once upon a time, when Prometheus created men, he hung from them two carrying pouches. One of these contained the deficiencies of other people and was hung in front. The other contained our own faults, which he suspended behind us. The result of this was that men could see directly down into the pouch containing other people's failings, but were unable to see their own. One can apply this fable to the muddle-headed person who, blind to his own faults, meddles with those of others which do not concern him at all. 304. The Monkey and the Fisherman. A monkey perching in a lofty tree saw some fishermen casting their dragnet into a river and watched what they did. Later, leaving their net, they withdrew a short distance to have their lunch. Then the monkey, climbing down from the tree, tried to do what they did, for this animal, it is said, has a natural aptitude for mimicry. But as soon as he touched the net, he got caught up in it and was in danger of drowning. He then said, "I only got what I deserved. Why have I taken up fishing without having learned how to first?" This fable shows that by meddling in affairs which one doesn't understand, not only does one gain nothing, but one also does oneself harm. 305. The Monkey and the Dolphin. It is the custom when voyaging by sea to take with one some little Maltese terriers and some monkeys to amuse oneself with during the crossing. So then, a man who was sailing the seas had a monkey with him. When they were off Cape Sunion of Attica, a violent storm broke, the vessel capsized, and everyone jumped overboard to save themselves, including the monkey. A dolphin saw him and, taking him for a man, slid underneath him, held him up, and carried him towards dry land. When they arrived at the maritime port of Piraeus, he asked the monkey if he was an Athenian. The monkey replied that he was, and that he even had illustrious Athenian parents. The dolphin asked him if he also knew Piraeus. The monkey, believing him to be speaking of a man, said yes, and that in fact he was one of his best friends. Enraged by such a lie, the dolphin dived down into the water and the monkey was drowned. This fable shows that men who do not know the truth delude other people. 306. The Monkey and the Camel. At an assembly of the beasts, a monkey got up and danced. He was enthusiastically applauded by everyone present. A jealous camel wanted to earn the same praise. He got up and also tried to dance, but he did such absurd things that the other animals became disgusted and beat him out of their sight with sticks. This fable is suitable for those people who, through envy, compete with those who are their betters. 307. The Monkey's Children. The monkeys, it is said, give birth to two children at once. Of these two children, the mother cherishes and feeds the one with tender care, whereas she despises and neglects the other. So it happens that, by divine fate, the little one that the mother takes care of with love and clasps in her arms is suffocated to death by her, and the one she neglects reaches a perfect maturity. This fable shows that chance is more powerful than forethought. 308. The Sea Voyagers. Some people boarded a ship and took to sea. When they were out in the open, a violent storm blew up and the vessel was in danger of sinking. One by one the passengers tore at their clothes, invoking the gods of their countries with tears and moans and promising to make offerings of thanks if they escaped and the boat was saved. But the tempest stopped and calm was restored. So they began to make merry, to dance, to leap about like people do who have escaped from an unforeseen danger. Then the stout-spirited steersman sprang up and said to them, "My friends, let us rejoice, but let us do so like people who may yet again encounter the storm." The fable shows that you shouldn't become too elated with success and that you should remember the fickleness of chance. 309. The Rich Man and the Tanner. A rich man came to live next door to a tanner. As he couldn't bear the bad smell from the tanner's yard, he kept on urging him to move somewhere else. The tanner continually postponed the move, promising to go in a little while. But as the dispute was ceaselessly prolonged, the rich man eventually got used to the smell and stopped pestering the tanner. This fable shows that habit ameliorates the sources of annoyance. 310. The Rich Man and the Mourners. A wealthy man had 2 daughters. One of them died, and so he hired some mourners. The remaining daughter said to her mother, "We are so wretched, for although we are the bereaved ones, we do not know how to make the lamentations, whereas these women, who are nothing to us, beat themselves and weep with so much violence." The mother replied, "Don't be surprised, my child, if these women make such pitiable lamentations. They do it for money." Thus it is that some people, prompted by their own interest, do not hesitate to trade in the unhappiness of others. 311. The Shepherd and the Sea. A shepherd who pastured a flock of sheep by the sea, seeing how calm the waves were, conceived a desire to sail forth and do some trading. So he sold his sheep, bought some dates, and set sail. But a heavy storm arose, and the boat was in danger of sinking. So he threw his cargo overboard and, with great difficulty, saved himself with his empty boat. Some time later a man came along. As he was admiring the calmness of the sea, which seemed quiet at the moment, our shepherd spoke up and said to him, "Ah, my good man, she wants some more dates, it seems. That's why she appears calm." This fable shows that mishaps serve as lessons to men. 312. The Shepherd and the Dog who fawned upon sheep. A shepherd had a huge dog, and he used to throw it the stillborn lambs and dying sheep to eat. Then one day when the flock was resting in the fold, he saw the dog approach some ewes and fawn upon them. "Here, you," he called out to it, "may the fate you wish on them befall you instead." This fable is addressed to flatterers. 313. The Shepherd and the Wolf Cubs. A shepherd found some wolf cubs and reared them with great care in the hope that, when grown, they would not only guard his own sheep, but would also seize the sheep of other people and bring them to him. But as soon as they reached maturity, they took an opportunity when they had nothing to fear and began to ravage his flock. When he realized this calamity, he groaned and said, "It serves me right. For why did I rescue the young of animals which one has to destroy when they are grown up?" In saving bad people, we unwittingly give them the power to turn against us first of all. 314. The Shepherd and the Wolf raised with the Dogs. A shepherd found a newborn wolf cub and took it home to rear with his dogs. When the wolf cub grew to maturity, if a wolf sometimes carried off a sheep, he would chase it along with the dogs. When occasionally the dogs couldn't catch up with the wolf and in consequence turned back, he pursued it until he caught up with it and would then have his share of the spoils like the wolf he was. Then he would turn back. If a wolf didn't kill a sheep outside the sheepfold, he would kill one himself on the sly and eat it with the dogs. But finally the shepherd guessed this and understood what was happening, so he killed the wolf and hung him from a tree. This fable shows that the naturally wicked cannot be given a good character. 315. The Shepherd and the Wolf Cub. A shepherd found a tiny wolf and reared it. Then, when it was a cub, he taught it to steal the sheep from the neighboring flocks. One day the wolf confronted him and said, "Now that you have got me into the habit of stealing, take care you don't miss any of your own sheep." People who are naturally clever, once trained to pillage and theft, as often as not do more harm to their masters than to strangers. 316. The Shepherd and the Sheep. A shepherd drove his sheep into an oak wood where he spotted a huge oak tree covered in acorns. He spread out his cloak beneath the tree, then climbed up it and shook the acorns down. The sheep, eating the acorns, also ate the cloak accidentally. When the shepherd climbed down and saw the damage, he cried out, "Wicked creatures! You provide wool for others to clothe themselves, but for me, the one who feeds you, all you do is deprive me of my cloak." Thus, plenty of people stupidly oblige those who are nothing to them and behave shabbily to their next of kin. 317. The Shepherd who let a wolf into the fold and the dog. A shepherd, herding his sheep into the fold, also shut a wolf up with them. His dog, who realized that this should not happen, said to him, "How can you, whose livelihood is sheep, let a wolf go in with them?" The company of the wicked in itself causes most harm and even death. 318. The Joking Shepherd. A shepherd who led his flock rather far from the village frequently indulged in the following practical joke. He called to the people of the village to help him, crying that wolves were attacking his sheep. 2 or 3 times the villagers were alarmed and rushed forth, then returned home having been fooled. But in the end it happened that some wolves really did appear. While they ravaged the flock, the shepherd called out for help to the villagers, but they, imagining that he was hoaxing them as usual, didn't bother with him. So it was that he lost his sheep. This fable shows that liars gain only one thing, which is not to be believed even when they tell the truth. 319. Polymos and Hybris. All the gods, having decided to get married, each took the wife that fate assigned to him. The god of war, Polymos, being left for the last drawing of lots, could find only wanton violence, Hybris. He fell madly in love with her and married her. That is why he goes everywhere where she goes. Everywhere where wanton violence appears in a city or among the nations, war and battle go also. 320. The River and the Hide. A river, seeing an ox hide floating in her waters, asked it its name. "I am called Hard," it replied. Then, increasing the effect of her current upon it, the river replied, "Find another name, or I shall quickly make you soft." Often, bold and arrogant people are overwhelmed by the misfortunes of life.